Thank you for listening on a Monday. Excited to visit right now with Brent Baker. It is a Sioux Falls real estate update, and he is with Keller Williams and Clients First Group. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well today.
I'm excited to have you in here. And there are people that are talking about this thing. Apparently, there's an election coming up. What?
Well,
your dog sneezed at that.
Yeah. We now have her input.
There's nothing to sneeze at there, Doug. No, but the thing that's interesting is we wouldn't necessarily connect home sales and home values to elections, but there's a connection, isn't there?
There really is. I get people that will say, I'm going to wait until after the election.
Yeah.
There's good and bad to that. At the end of the day, my advice is, do you need a house?
Yeah.
Do you need it now?
Yeah.
If you do, then let's keep shopping.
What are we waiting for? Yeah.
Yeah, you always need a roof over your head. But there are trends for major election years. And Mark Twain said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme.
Yeah.
And,
but I love it.
We need to understand the cyclical patterns for markets during election years and for us to empower you as our client. We need to advise you, but remember this. All the political pundits don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All of the, even the people that are running for election, they don't know what the final outcome is.
Yeah.
Or unless they know things that we don't that are going on behind the scenes. But
well, let's hope that's not the case.
Correct. But advice is never perfect.
Yeah.
There's always the exception to the rule. But if you go think about going to your doctor can tell you what he sees of that day, whether it's in your blood count or anything else. But he can't tell you for certain what's going to happen in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, much less a year from now.
Yeah.
What your particular case is going to be.
Yeah.
So just be aware that when you ask a realtor a question, what are the rates going to be next year? Are home prices going to go up or down? We can only tell you what we see for trends. And they're not gospel.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen that interrupt a trend. And, when home prices are going up, they think the sky is the limit and it'll just keep going. But we know that's not true. And same for the reverse. As prices soften, it doesn't mean that they're going to go to 0 or 50%. What is a housing collapse to a buyer versus seller? 5% adjustment to a seller is a really big deal, but to the buyer, they go, that's all?
Yeah.
So we just want people to be aware of your perspective changes a lot in 30 days.
And some of the things that probably would be good to keep in mind is just because, I'm thinking, I don't want to do this because of this election. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. It just means maybe I'll do it a month later or 2 months later. So it's not like people are going to go, I'm never going to buy a house now. So
yeah.
They're just delaying it. They're not canceling it.
Right. So in a typical seasonal adjustment that we see here in the Midwest, October, November, we see a seasonal adjustment of about 9.8%. But in a major election year, that same period, it's 15%.
Yeah.
But the example that I've read and seen is, think of it this way. When there's a blizzard and you can't get out, McDonald's isn't selling hamburgers and cheeseburgers, or they're selling far fewer of them.
Yeah.
They don't recover that afterward. They just have to live with the fact that this week
we missed out.
Yeah. But, home sales is different.
Yeah.
It might just simply mean they're delayed. A few months, a year. Yeah. My dad was a cattle feeder, and I remember when the cattle market collapsed, and now he's saddled, with this huge loss. It meant that the field tractor didn't get traded for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it meant some other delays, but eventually we had to replace the tractor. Eventually.
And if you want to avoid if everything's being delayed, now instead of buying here, I'm going to buy there. If everybody's buying there, then prices are going to be higher there. So buy now when prices are lower.
Correct.
Avoid the trend.
That's exactly correct. And you're still gambling on what the interest rate will be if that's a factor for you. So,
and how does that? Do we typically see a difference in mortgage rates, like interest stuff, during the time frame?
that's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, rates have a little tendency to fall before an election, but here again, what do you define as a significant movement?
Yeah.
Is it 0.25%, a full percent? There is nobody out there saying we're going to get back to 5.
Yeah.
And what would be the motivation for that to happen? So
absolutely.
But just as a side for that, 8 out of the last election years, interest rates have fallen just before the election.
Okay. Well, that's, again, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but it could happen.
Right.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, that's right.
Brent, if somebody listening is going, election, no election, this, that, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm looking for a house, or, hey, I want to sell my house. If they're looking for assistance when it comes to real estate, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, I can always be reached by a call or text at 605-310-0297 or Brent Baker at kw.com.
Very nice. Again, Brent Baker is with Clients First Group and Keller Williams. And again, if you'd like to reach out and connect with him, I suggest you do that. I like the guy. Not only is he a client, but we're also a client. He's helped us sell homes and he's helped us buy homes. And I like working with the dude. He's a good guy. If you want to hear any more of what we just said and you're going, hey, I missed this or I joined in the middle, we save this as a podcast as well. And you can find that at SiouxFallsPodcast.com.